Welcome back to the channel, everybody, and welcome back to another video. And today I happen to have both my 2005 Lamborghini Gallardo and a 2002 Ferrari 360 in my possession that I'm going to share with you. These are both the cheapest supercars you can buy on the market today. And before you say, those aren't supercars, they're not even that fast compared to the new modern cars. Supercars are generally defined as exotics, and these are exotics, limited production cars and very special vehicles that you can now buy for an incredibly low price. And I believe these cars have bottomed out as well. So I'm going to show you inside and out of both these beautiful vehicles. But first, we've got to roll that intro.
Like me, I'm really a beast and I'm out in the wild. The boil in my eye and I want it right now. That's a vow when I gotta get it. The victory's mine. You trying to compete is wasted time. Came from the bottom, but now I'm in front of the line. In front of the haters, I turn them to motivators. I don't owe them no favors and any beef or get catered. I'm on my way, doing my flex, running it up, getting my checks. I got the power, give me respect. I live this life, then on to the next. Give me respect. I live this life, then on to the next. I live this life, then on to the next. I flex different than them boys that have been grinding strong. You can spot a winner.
All right, so let's get started. But first, let's tip our hat to the 2020 Hellcat Red Eye, which, yes, I agree and I understand, is faster than both of these exotic supercars. But there is not a comparison when it comes down to the value of the cars, the production levels of the cars, and just the cars in general. So let's jump right in and start talking about the 360 Spyder first. All right, so this is a 2002 Ferrari 360 Spyder. This car, they built around 16,000 of these things, and they built the Spyder and they built the coupe, which is called the 360 Modena. And they built about 8,800 of the Modenas and about 7,500 of the Spyders. And I think the Spyders look incredible. And after these got built, they were highly regarded as one of the most daily driver friendly Ferraris on the market. And I actually remember going and looking in 2008, 2009 for a used one, and I was told, yeah, you can drive it as long as you're willing to change the clutch and do maintenance on it. This car will keep running without having to do as many engine outs as some of the older 355s and 348s. This car has a 3.6 liter V8, one of the best sounding V8s on the market, especially at the time. It's got this high-pitched, incredible exhaust note. And this car will do 0 to 60 in about 4.5 seconds. So again, it's not the fastest car out there, but it's plenty quick and a blast to drive. The Ferrari 360 is made out of aluminum, weighs about 3,300 pounds, making it a pretty light car. And one thing I do love about this car is the interior. Even though it's a 2002, this thing looks really, really cool. For storage space, you've got a glove compartment in here with a little bit of room. You've got some little cubbies in the sides. You've got some room behind the seats. He's got a speaker behind the driver's seat. You've also got a small storage area right here. Under the frunk, you've got a considerable amount of space in comparison to that, which there is none. Here you can fit a decent amount of bags, even a couple suitcases facing this direction. One thing about these Ferrari 360s that was an issue when I was looking to buy one is you can't really wrap this car without taking apart the headlights, and that's a nightmare. And these are really expensive because these are color matched to the car inside of this glass. So wrapping it any color that didn't have some red in it would not look right. The Ferrari also came with 18-inch wheels versus the 19s that are on it now. These are aftermarket Asantis. They definitely fill the wheel well out and look a lot sportier on this car and add to the beautiful lines, but they did have to roll the fender wells just a little bit to make these not rub, but I think it's worth it. They look so much better. How much are these cars? This car right here, you can get all day long. Go to Auto Tempest, and you can see them between $75,000 and $80,000. You can get the coupes for around just under $70,000 all day long. I believe these cars have bottomed out because I've been watching them for several years now, and they don't seem to be going any further down. Even higher mileage versions of the 360 and the 360 Spyder aren't going down in value. So they're actually hovering around that 75 for something with some higher miles on it, all the way up to $120,000. I found one looked just like this one, same year and everything. Actually, I think it was a year older, for $120,000 because it had like 3,000 miles on it. Now let's talk about the Lamborghini. All right, so this is my 2005 Lamborghini Gallardo. This car, they made about 14,000 of these from 2004 to about 2014, and then the Huracan came out after that to replace it. During the production of this car, you could find the Murcielagos out there with the V12. This was considered the baby Lambo. The great thing about this car is that it is now really cheap to buy, but it's based on an Audi engine, so an Audi V10. All right, so the Lamborghini Gallardo comes with a naturally aspirated V10 Audi R8 motor with about 520 horsepower. The car weighs about the same as the Ferrari, a little over 3,000 pounds, and it'll do 0 to 60 in 4 seconds versus the 4.5. What I've been told by mechanics is the clutch on this engine runs around $7,000, where you can get the clutch replaced on the Ferrari for around $400 to $4,500. So a little bit more expensive in the Lamborghini than the Ferrari. I'm also told the Ferrari clutches last a little bit longer. So I don't know. I've yet to have found out, and I hope I don't find out for a long time. All right, so it is an absolute toss-up for me which interior I like more. Obviously, this is a 2005, so this is a 3-year newer car than the Ferrari. So the interior is going to look a little bit more modern. I did change the stereo to this touchscreen. Otherwise, it had a cassette player. You can check out my older videos, and it looked a little bit antiquated. But it is a very clean and simple interior. Not a lot of storage in here. You've got a couple cubbies in the side, which are very small. A very small glove compartment. Literally, you can fit one glove. And it's got a little bit of room behind the seats, but that is tiny amount of room there. And this car has the 6-speed e-gear transmission, which is a little rude and obnoxious to drive, but still very fun. All right, the frunk space, nothing. This is horrible. Now I can remove this and get a little bit more room, but you're not fitting any suitcases in here. You're not taking this thing on any trips. This is a very tight squeeze for any cargo whatsoever compared to the Ferrari that has a considerable amount more room.
Is that a Spyder?
That's a Ferrari 360 Spyder, and that's a Lamborghini Gallardo coupe. Pretty crazy. All right, so let's talk about price. This 2005 Lamborghini Gallardo has 22,000 miles on it. This car I got for $95,000, and it is pristine in every way. The issue with both of these cars is that so many of them found their way into rental fleets and were beat the hell out of. So once you find a really nice one, it's worth whatever they're asking if it's within that range. I found the Lamborghini Gallardo all over Auto Tempest for $80,000, $85,000, $90,000 in that range. So both of these cars are pretty close in the price ranges, but the key with both of these cars is to find them in good condition. This Ferrari has 42,000 miles on it and runs perfectly, so it's a great car. And we also have a lot of history on this car with all the maintenance that has been done to it, so we know where it's been. So we know that most likely there's not going to be any catastrophic issues. I have also met the second and third owner of the Lamborghini, and all the books and records are in place, and this is a very good example of this car. So on the high end of the $80,000 to $100,000 range, a Gallardo like this is a great deal. But you can get the 2004s all day long in the $80,000 range. But it all depends on mileage, condition, and a lot of these are beat up and a lot of the dashes are curled up. Both these cars have had the dashes redone, so they're perfect condition, and that costs a significant amount of money to fix. So overall, both great examples of this car. The 2004 Lamborghini does not have the front lift. That's an issue because this car is so low. In 2005, they added the lift, they added a little bit more horsepower, so if you're looking for one of these things, I would suggest you step to the 2005 and pay the extra money if you can. Otherwise, you're going to be paying extra money to get the front lift, and you're going to have less horsepower. And any first year of any of these cars is always scary because they're still figuring out all the bugs and quirks and issues with them. So I hope you enjoy this tour of the 2002 Ferrari 360 Spyder and my 2005 Lamborghini Gallardo. Honestly, the biggest point that I've got to share with all of you with these cars is they're not making any more of these. Remember, about 16,000 of the Ferraris and about 14,000 of the Lamborghini Gallardos, and then even less when you figure out how many have been crashed, how many have been totaled, how many have been just destroyed, disappeared, shipped out of the country. So there's even less out there. They're never making this car again. They're never making this car again. And they both were revered as two of the greatest cars built by two of the greatest exotic car makers. So it makes sense that buying one of these things would not be a bad investment if you can get one in relatively good condition and keep it that way. The other big point is they've both bottomed out in value. Now, I could be wrong and everything could go to hell once this incredible economy straightened itself out. But I was looking at Lamborghini Countachs back when they were $75,000, $80,000, and you can't touch them for less than $300,000, $400,000, $500,000. I was looking at Diablos for $120,000, $130,000 back in the early 2000s, and those are now hundreds of thousands of dollars to get them. Now, yes, more limited production, but remember, Lamborghini is making a ton of Huracans. Ferrari has made a ton of 458s. So in the end, if you want to buy one of those cars, you're going to pay a lot of money for those, and frankly, those are holding their value really well also because they're such big advancements from when they were building these cars that they're in high demand. So if you want to get into the supercar game and you want to get there at a very reasonable price, get one of these two and any of the years of these cars, except like in the Gallardo, maybe the 2004, you'll be giving up some options, especially the front lift, which I really need. The Ferrari does not come with the front lift, which you really need, and you can see the front splitter's been beat up a little bit, so that's going to be a continuous repair issue if you've got one of these cars with an aftermarket front splitter, which this does have. The car does not come with that, so when you see the 360s, it will not look the same. I think it looks better with that front splitter, but you're just going to be changing it quite often. It just is what it is. But overall, the maintenance on these things, from what I'm told and what I've experienced so far in a very short period and all the research I've done, it's not horrible. You can get hit with some pretty good expenses, but in the end, if the car is holding its value, it's no different than owning a car, a newer car, let's say a C8 Corvette, that's dropping in value and going to ultimately, after you pay $100,000 for it, be worth $40,000 or $50,000 at some point. So you're going to lose either way. At the very least, you have an opportunity with these two cars that they start going back up in value, which in some cases you've seen when the mileage is low and the condition is great. So with that, everybody, thank you so much for following the channel. Thank you so much for subscribing. Please like, please be respectful and kind in the comments. Stay motivated, and I look forward to talking to you in the next video.
Give me respect. I live this life, then on to the next. Give me respect. I live this life.